Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV. Kenny Fogle here. Glad you could join us tonight. As you know, every week we try to highlight different veterans that have been served in the U.S. military over the years, and many of them have served stateside, but many of them have served what we call in country. And if you understand what I mean by that, then you understand where we're going with our next guest. That's Gary Downs of Bardstown here. Gary, first of all, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. And when I talk about in country, you spent a little time in a country we all know well several years ago. So.
Right. I got drafted, got sent to Vietnam as a combat infantryman. I spent a year there with the 1st Air Cavalry. I was on the DMZ. I was in Khe Sanh. I was in A Shau Valley. I was in South China Sea. I was on the Cambodian border. And when I left, we were right in the middle of the country in Bien Hoa. So I got the grand tour.
Well, you didn't have to pay the vacation travel agent or anything.
No,
that kind of stuff. They
no.
just took you right over for free.
Right.
So the description most people give when they go to a war situation is you have a lot of boring days surrounded by moments of terror. So was yours come anywhere close to that?
No, not really. What we did was basically go hunting for the enemy. They had scouts that went out and they found them, and then we'd go out and try to find them again. Mm-hmm. It wasn't any thing that was fun about it because you had to carry a lot of equipment, usually probably 120 rounds of machine gun ammunition, probably at least 3 canteens of water, plus 19 magazines of M16 ammunition. Shovel and a pick to digging in every night. It was hard, real hard physically. Mm-hmm. But we was all 19, 20 years old, so a lot better shape than all of us are in now.
Even the physical part, I mean, you're well aware that you're not home. I think that's the main thing. And when you go to bed every night or when you wake up every day, you're well aware that you're not in Kentucky.
Well, I was scared to death most all the time because you just didn't know when it's going to be your turn. Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of young men get killed over there, and just in my company. Mm-hmm. We probably lost in the double figures, and in the year I was over, not counting the ones that got wounded and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I know since you got out of the military years ago, you stayed in contact with a lot of people that you were over there with. So you developed some sort of a brotherhood or something, and I guess of that nature.
Well, for probably about 40 years or so, most of these guys was basically swept under a rug, so to speak. They didn't like to talk about it, talk to anybody that knew about it. And now that, things is that they've got to the point where most of them are retired now, and if they're still living, then they're talking to the other people and finding people that they serve with, mainly through Facebook and internet and stuff like that. They go to reunions. I know I go to several of them every year.
Well, and you become somewhat of an expert on Agent Orange to some degree. Back then, you didn't think a whole lot about it, but nowadays, you know a little bit about what it did and what it does.
I'm not really an expert on it, but since the last 7 years or so, I've been retired. I've met a lot of veterans that's had health problems and didn't realize what was causing it, such as heart problems, and Agent Orange causes a valve in your heart to go bad, and they had to replace that. That's one of the things. Plus prostate cancer. There's like 68 known diseases that's linked to Agent Orange now.
Now, Agent Orange basically was a defoliant. Basically, they did it to spread so it would kill all the leaves, about like a Roundup. It sort of just killed all the leaves, but it also landed on a lot of people, too. Yes,
that's true. That the Army tried out 1,800 different chemicals over there, and before they found out 2 of them that they mixed together made Agent Orange. There was absolutely no regulations on where they sprayed it, how potent it was. If a company commander, a division commander or somebody like that requested them to come in and dump this Agent Orange, that's what they did. if you was unfortunate enough to get it sprayed on you or went to the places where it had been sprayed. I mean, I've been to places where there wasn't an ant crawling. I mean, it's that bad.
So basically, I know that's been a big issue with you over the last several years is veterans issues, veterans hospital, veterans getting people more aware of what, because veterans, I'm going to say that VAs does some good things. One of the things they don't do very good is they don't make people very aware of what treatments they can get and what benefits they can get if they have run into something like Agent Orange.
Well, that's true. Well, a lot of them that had their own private insurance and was treated by their private doctor when they got back, they had these health problems, but they didn't know what caused it really. And a lot of them went to their grave like that. But I know when I came back, I'd had mental problems, you know, from PTSD and stuff like that. And my local doctor, he didn't realize what I had, you know, sort of like, you know, I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, depression, anxiety, and all that other kind of stuff. So I just got back from, you know, seeing people getting killed and all that kind of stuff. So.
And you're 18, 19 years old when you do it. You're not real well equipped for that.
Right. No, you're not. And it don't go away. I mean, they try to say, well, you know, don't think about it. But now that a lot of these veterans are coming out of the woodwork, and they're starting to talk about it, and they're also kind of mad at the military for what they did. Agent Orange was sprayed and betrayed, basically what it boils down to.
Do you think it makes a difference now? Like you said, you went many years without talking about it. A lot of people do. Now you got others that went through the same thing you did. You think it helps with the PTSD now that you've got somebody you can actually get it off your chest?
Well, it does. I mean, you can go to therapy and stuff like that, and but when the guys get together, basically they talk about where they was at, what happened to them, and stuff like that while we was there, and sort of like reminiscing, you know, hey, we made it back. Now we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. So prior to going to the military, I mean, you'd spent 18, 19 years right here in Bardstown. So what was your plans before the military snatched you up and sent you to a jungle?
Well, I just had graduated from high school, and I got a good paying job, and so instead of going to college and stuff like that, I took my chances and, you know, went to work. Well, that didn't last but a couple years, and so I was at work one day, and we was putting these whiskey cases on a pallet, and they was putting sleeves on them, everything, and they was going to Vietnam. And so I didn't know that I was going to be in the same place within a short time. The draft was pretty prevalent back then. I know I left Bardstown with 6 other guys, or 5 other guys, one or the other. But anyhow, they put me in charge of these guys somehow or another. And so we went down Lowell and got inducted to the Army and all that kind of stuff. Well, 2 of these guys went AWOL right away. They didn't even go. And the other 3 of us, one of them he's 100% disabled. I am 100% disabled. And the other one has passed away from heart disease, linked Agent Orange. The people I work with, tell you how prevalent it is. The people I work with, out of at least 8 of those, out of a small percentage of the people who work there, it's got problems with Agent Orange, either 100% disabled, got cancer, or 2 of them has died from cancer. So you can see what's going on with this problem.
Well, the thing is you know, most people can point to a time in their life where up to this point, I thought and lived a certain way, and after this point, I thought and lived a certain way. I'd say that year in Vietnam or so was probably you're a different Gary Downs now than you were before you went.
Well, definitely. My sister wrote a letter to the VA in my behalf, and she said she definitely noticed the difference between time I went over there and time I got back.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to get close to anybody when I came back, and that's including the relatives and the whole 9 yards. And I was pretty much a loner, and so I made it through all of that. But it was definitely a change from being happy-go-lucky, dating girls, good job, and the whole 9 yards. It was. I had a lot of support while I was in Vietnam, as far as people writing me. There was probably about eight girls or so that wrote me, that got either got my name off the newspapers or something or the other, and of course people around here that wrote me, and my sister and brother-in-law, and the family, everybody, we got mail all the time. So, but unfortunately, we didn't have a whole lot of time to write back. You know.
Well, I guess the thing is, one of the reasons we have these shows is to let other veterans that maybe be out there going through what like you went through, and to give them the idea that there are other people out there they can talk to. There's people they can get in with, whether it's American Legion or whether it's just calling up somebody on Facebook or somebody. We don't want people to go through this alone. And I think that's the hardest part, is once you realize that you do have support, and you can, like you said, it never goes away. It never goes away. So it's not like you're going to be, I hate to use the word cured, but it's not like you're ever going to be, you're ever going to go back to who you were before.
Oh, no, it's definitely not. You can't go back like you was before, because that is basically history, you know. But the VA system itself, as far as the hospital and the doctors, they've treated me real well. And probably better than you get in the outside doctors, because usually a doctor here or whatever said, well, I don't know, I'm going to send you to so-and-so, and then I don't know, I'm going to send you to so-and-so, so and so. But then down there, they pretty well take care of you. Down the VA hospital now, you don't see very few World War II veterans, and you see a few Korean veterans, but I would say probably 80% of them down there now are Vietnam veterans.
Yeah. Well, Gary, we appreciate you taking the time out of the day and come in and visit with us. I know you do stay pretty busy, even though you're retired. And you seem every time I'm around, you always either coming from somewhere or going to somewhere. So.
Well, I got a regular schedule of doing nothing, I think. But yeah, it's with this PTSD and everything, it's hard to cope with the way the people are nowadays, and all of the strife that goes on with all the murders and this and that, and all the foreign wars that's going on. It's hard to cope with all of that. Mm-hmm. They tell you not to watch the news. They tell you not to read the newspapers. I guess they want you to be a hermit. I don't know, but it's something that people take to the grave with them, really.
Well, war is not meant to be. It's cruel. It's as simple as that, and it doesn't end when they sign the peace treaty. So basically, it sticks with you the rest of your life, or something.
But I've found out there's a lot of things. I had a real good contact that worked in Washington D.C., and I found out there's a lot of stuff that the Pentagon didn't want you to know, that they didn't tell anybody. Agent Orange was one of them, but also there was another thing called liver flukes. I knew about this 8 years ago, and it just now came out. You had it. What it was, the people that ate Vietnamese food and stuff like that over there, it wasn't properly prepared. So these organisms got in their body and they hibernated for about 50 years, and then they come back out and they get into your bile duct or your pancreas and stops it up and kills you. The VA just recognized that as one of the things that happens to the Vietnam veterans.
Again, the war didn't end when we came home, so you're still fighting the war in many ways right today. So, well, Gary, I do appreciate you taking the time, and I hope everything's going well for you, and hopefully we can help a few veterans out there along the way. And I know Gary's always available to talk to anybody, and you can catch him usually most mornings in one of the breakfast places there in town if you want to stop in and see him.
Yep. I'm available to talk to people a lot. I plan on getting a seminar here on Agent Orange here sometime in October, as soon as I get everything lined up. But I know they had one over Elizabethtown, and there was probably a couple hundred showed up.
Well, let us know on that, and we'll be there too. All right, well, thanks a lot. Got Gary Downs here with us from Bardstown. Appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. We always try to highlight our veterans and give them a little honor and respect that they deserve for what they've done for us over the years and still doing for us today. Stick around. A lot more to come here on Channel 6 TV.